Hey everybody, this is Freddie with LeviathanScuba.com. A lot of brand new divers after their first class tell me they were scared out of their wetsuit. I'm here to argue with them. It wasn't fear. We'll get to that in just a minute. So, I get this a lot when somebody comes back from their very first class and they say, I was afraid. And I say, no, you weren't afraid. And they go, yeah, I was. I say, it wasn't fear. And what we don't get thinking about it ahead of time, we've taken the course material, we've learned online or in our book, we never even think about what it's going to be like the first time you put your face underwater. And I'm telling you, you're a human being. You weren't meant to breathe underwater. There's going to be some effect of actually doing that that's not comfortable in the beginning. Okay, you might be that seasoned snorkeler, swimmer, been in the ocean 100 times, and it doesn't bother you. I get it. But most of us, the first time you put your face underwater with something in your mouth to take a breath out of, it's hard, it's difficult, and sometimes people translate that, they call it fear. But it's really not fear. They might use the word anxiety. They might even use the word claustrophobia. I just felt like, And here's the thing. You have nerves in your lips and in your nose and in your eyes that are meant to protect you. If you were walking on the edge of a lake or a river or something, and you fell into the water, you wouldn't even have to think about it. You would not inhale naturally. A brand new baby, when we drop that baby into a swimming pool, that baby does not inhale. They lock up and they're underwater. Their face is underwater, but they won't inhale. We can slowly get in, reach out, grab that baby, lift that baby up, and they'll go, that's when they take a breath. Well, we didn't teach them that. That's human instinct. You have that instinct, being human. So a lot of times when people get finished with their first class and they say, oh, I was really afraid, we say, we argue with them a little bit. It wasn't fear, it was your instinct, and we explain it. Probably even better to tell them before their class so they know everybody pretty much feels this at some point in their life. So they don't think, oh, it's just me. I've seen big old bodybuilder, macho guys that couldn't finish the class because they were so terrified on the inside when they put their face underwater. It was so uncomfortable. They just, thought they were going to drown. But in reality, they were standing in 3 feet of water. All you have to do is stand up. So here's the encouraging part. How do we teach you to get over it? Hopefully, in your training, they did some exercise that helped you slowly get used to breathing first out of a regulator above the water. And if not, slowly bend over and put your face in the water, face only. So then you alleviate some of the fear of being under. Just your face in the water, inhaling and exhaling. And I'm telling you, it can be difficult. When I was first certified, I could not inhale. I had a regulator in my mouth, the tank was turned on, and it was full. And I probably would have died because if you held me under, I wouldn't have been able to inhale. I just couldn't do it. It was that hard. So I had to come up, take the regulator out of my mouth and breathe. And then I put my regulator in my mouth and they said, okay, start breathing above the water. Okay. Okay, now bend over and put your face in the water. You got nervous again, right? It's just a human instinct not to die underwater. Okay, we all have it. So with practice, it goes away completely. I can encourage you to say you will not have that feeling. Hopefully within your first few nights in a swimming pool practicing, it'll go away for you then too. Once your brain decides, I'm not gonna die, then it gets better. Now, here's a great exercise for you to try. If I have somebody that it's really tough for them to get past this is what I do. Shallow water, 3 feet maybe. Put the regulator in their mouth, start breathing. Go under the water just a little bit, not much, maybe this deep under the water, but you're underwater, and breathe. And this is going to sound funny, but I just stare at them. And they're breathing. And in the beginning, their eyes are going all over the place. And I just stare at them. And it's awkward. But guess what? Their brain is teaching them, even though they don't know it quite yet. After a couple of minutes, the breathing slows down. After a few more minutes, they're getting kind of normal, and I'm trying to get them bored underwater. Why? Because their brain slows down. It says, I'm not gonna die. And then in 5 minutes, some maybe 10, some maybe a little longer, whatever, they're just breathing and they're bored. And they're looking at you like, Freddie, what are we gonna do? Are you gonna teach me something? And and I always overreact on purpose. Are you okay? and they go, yeah. And then we surface and they're like, well, what are we doing? And I go, oh, do you notice that when you first went under, you were like freaked, breathing hard, eyes going everywhere, and now you're bored. You're just sitting there. What do you think happened in between? Your brain taught you weren't gonna die, you got a little bored, you relaxed, and now we can turn you on your belly and have you swim across the swimming pool and back underwater, breathing fine, okay? I've even seen it on a dive trip. When somebody's brand new usually, jump in the water in Bonaire, I and another diver literally had to hold this gal on the surface, and in her regulator, she is screaming. And I thought, boy, if there was ever a time to abort the dive, maybe this was it. But we just held her, and I'm telling her in her ear, relax, just relax, you're fine. We're on the surface, you're good, we're fine. She started breathing. Literally after a couple of minutes, she was fine. And we took her to 100 feet deep. Maybe not 100, but I'm just saying, okay? So I hope this has helped you. If you're just getting ready to take your course, be encouraged that many divers feel this. Many people go through the anxiety of it, but it disappears eventually with time, usually very short, usually within your class. And if you're a diver that just doesn't go that often, and every time you go on a new experience or a new dive, jump in the water, you feel it a little bit, I'm gonna recommend, kind of like some of my other videos say, the most important part of the dive is the first 3 minutes. Relax, take your time. Don't get into the hurry hubbub of getting you shoved off the boat and all your gear and this and that, and just try to get in the water. My favorite part of the dive, and it sets the tone for the rest of the dive, is the first 3 minutes. If you can just relax, just breathe, listen to the sound of your breathing, it's gonna go away. The fear's gonna go away, okay? So, I hope you get a chance to practice. If you're in the midst of your training, I'd love to hear about your comments down below if this helped you. It should. We help a lot of people. And knowing ahead of time, if you haven't taken your training yet, that's even better, all right? Make it a great day. You know the difference between a new diver and an experienced diver? It's quite often just the tips and the tricks they learn along the way. That's why we share these with you. If you can think of somebody else that you think might benefit from these videos, try sharing it with them. And you know how you can help us? Just hit that like button down below. That'll help. And if by some chance you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way we'll let you know when the next video comes out. Have an awesome day.